Donald Trump's guilty, we all know that. But now we look forward to what effect this will have. Because as both Trump and Biden say, November 5th is when this thing is gonna really be determined. Will he become president again? He still very well could. In fact, there's some evidence that it might be more likely now. The Trump campaign says that in just the hours since the guilty verdicts, he raised $35 million, which is admittedly a lot of money. And admittedly is very worrying that so many people would see him being found guilty of dozens of felonies and say, I wanna give him my last $50. I don't get it, but people are doing it. Now, there is a theory out there that being found guilty will hurt him. I once heard there is no way that the American people are gonna vote for a convicted criminal. And that was said in February of this year by Nikki Haley. Of course, she says she's gonna vote for him, so maybe it was a bad theory from the beginning. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the Damage Report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you. Now, the evidence is mixed on this. According to a PBS NewsHour NPR Marist poll, 2 in 3 registered US voters say that a guilty verdict would have no effect on their vote plan, including 3 out of 4 independents. However, I did the math, and that says that for 1 out of 4 independents, it will have an effect on them, and that is still millions of people. 25% of Republicans said they'd be even more likely to vote for Trump if he were found guilty by a jury. Great, I love that for you. 27% of Democrats said they'd be less likely to vote for him. That seems weird that that's not higher. But the most important part is the narrow sliver of Republicans, 1 in 10, and the 11% of voters who are independent who say they'd be less likely to vote for Trump if he was guilty. Now, that is not a lot of people as a percentage, but it's still millions of people. And if the election is close, this could well be the thing that swings it. Brett, what do you think?
We're so much better than this.
No, we're this bad.
No, America's so much better than an 85-year-old, and you just still don't know who I'm talking about yet. Like the 2 85-year-old, like various shells. Like Joe Biden is the ultimate like silent generationer. He's in good shape. He loves his country. He kind of fallen apart. And he was really for locking like everybody up to keep the streets safe from people, even though that didn't really have an effect on anything. So that was him. And then Donald Trump is like in Ayn Rand. There's this character who has this gorgeous like symbol of capitalism, and he's got this big orange hair. And this is like the actuality, the grotesque actuality of that. Like this is the John Galt, Howard Rourke. I forget which one had the orange hair. John Galt with like the big, but it's just like it's like if John Galt got dropped into toxic waste and just started bloating and melting. And he got convicted of weird sex tape crime, basic things coupled with fraud.
Technical terms.
And then we've got an independent who's like a legacy case for Kennedy's who had a brain worm eat half his skull out. Like, what is happening to America? We used to be this ridiculous archetype of bravery and strength and brawn and ingenuity and going to the moon stuff. And now we're just grotesque absurdities fighting against each other while we all go like, how are these my only options?
I once was brainstorming a novel where the world was a massive mythical creature that had died, had been killed by those who lived on it, and was now rotting. And so humanity was trying to survive on the rotting corpse of its earth.
That's great.
And then I realized that's too on the nose. I feel like that's what's happening. We've gone mad from the rotting fumes and lead paint of the world we've created with our media and with our campaign finance laws. And we've come to a weird place. I have high hopes for 2028. Okay, stay tuned, everyone. But we're in wild times. Look, these numbers make me a little bit pessimistic, but there are still some people who will be affected by this. And in some of these swing states that might come down to 10,000 votes, a lot of things could swing that. This seems, I think, as likely as any to potentially swing 50,000 votes in Georgia or something. But remember, you still gotta go and vote. You still gotta organize. You still gotta keep active. And thank you to everybody watching this because you are. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.